Okay, in today's lesson we're going to look at one-point perspective. We have a piece of paper in front of us here, which is an A3 piece of paper. A3 is generally 29.7 down and 42 centimeters across. But what we're going to do, to get the halfway mark, we're just going to measure down about 14.5. Obviously that isn't the correct measurement, but because of the bend in the paper, it's not far off. So we'll measure down 14.5 on this side, 14.5 in the middle, and 14.5 on the edge, just making a mark each time. And with these three dots there, all 14.5 down, we're just going to faintly draw a line across to give us the eye line on this particular picture. Okay, and now on this eye line, we're going to go halfway, we're going to draw the vanishing point of the 1 point perspective. And because I know this page is 42 across, I can easily make the mark there at 21. I'm going to do a little circle there to show the vanishing point. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have a row of terraced houses on both sides of this street. So first of all we're going to draw the roof on the top. Now notice I'm not aiming for the corner, I'm aiming for just off it. So with this first line I'm going to draw very faintly, because it's easy to correct it once it's been drawn, and if we need to correct it if it's faintly down. So here's the first line. About equal weight in there, we're going to go down just a little bit down from the corner, and we're going to create another line. Now this is giving us the roof space on our row of terrace houses. Next thing I want to do is create the front of the houses. So I'm going to take this in a little bit further than we've gone down there, so about 1.5 times. We're going to go down from the vanishing point down to there, and that's going to be the bottom of the house. I want to quickly add a pavement and a curb. So from the vanishing point again, we're going to go out not very far, just for the pavement, and the curb is much smaller again, all coming from the vanishing point. Okay, so we've got the roof space, the front of the house, the pavement and the curb. Now I like to use a funny term here to describe how the houses are going. So as things get further into the distance, further towards the vanishing point, they get smaller. So I like to call this first house Daddy Bear's house. And I'm going to do a faint line down from the bottom, from the roof space there down to the pavement. That's going to be the biggest size house. Now obviously all the houses are the same size, but as they get further up they look like they're getting smaller, and they are going to get smaller in terms of measurement. But it's just an illusion that we're trying to recreate on paper. So that's 9. So say for my next house I'm just going to go about 5, just over halfway. And do a line straight down. Remember to keep these lines vertically down, straight down to the edge of the paper. And the next one, I'm going to do just about 3, actually about 2.5, I'll go. And that's going to be, so we've got Daddy Bear's house, and then we've got Mummy's Bear's house, a bit smaller, and then Little Bear. I don't like Little Bear much, so I'm going to get rid of him. And right at the end here, I'll just give him 2 centimeters. I'm going to do Tiny Tim Bear's house, the smallest. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller than that. So. Okay. Make sure these lines are as straight down, vertically down as they can, and all parallel with each other. If you get too much of an angle, it breaks the illusion. Next thing we do, we need to give the roofs, give the illusion of the roofs on the houses here. So choose an angle, and it needs to be quite a severe angle, otherwise it won't work later on, as you'll see. So I'm moving across, keeping the angle the same, all the way across. Okay, so we've got all our houses and we've got the roof space there. I think I said at the start I don't like Little Bear, so we're going to get rid of him. So here we go, Daddy Bear's house, and Mummy Bear's house, and Little Bear's house, then Tiny Tim's. But we'll get to that at Little Bear's house. 1, 2, 3. I want to do a vertical line parallel with the bottom of my page, moving up, sorry, a horizontal line, going from Little Bear to Mummy Bear. So it's a horizontal line going across from Little Bear to Mummy Bear. Daddy Bear, Mummy Bear, Little Bear. And if we follow Little Bear up, go along his roof space, what we need to do now is that angle that we've drawn, I want to draw it back in the opposite direction. So just try your best to mimic that angle in the opposite direction. And stop it, that house there. And already we're given the illusion, if we get rid of that line, I think you can start to see it looks like there's a gap in the houses. Now to make this even more apparent, we're going to put a sort of street with pavements in here. So if I drop that line down just a little bit, go from Mummy Bear's out, but this time just out to the pavement there, and drop it down about a millimetre and a half, draw another line out to this time to the curb, and a straight line dividing them like that. And you give the illusion of the pavement there turning around the front. Also going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pop up from Mummy Bear's up, keeping it lying in parallel with that, out like that from Mummy Bear's to the curb, and then a straight line down there. And this gives again the illusion that there is a street there. So if I just rub that out there, rub that out there, rub that out there, you can see the illusion, hopefully, of the pavement turning around the corner there. Pavement there, going in front of that house there. Okay, let's add some doors and windows to this house. So, I'm going to go quite near the edge here, and I'm going to draw my door up. You choose how high it is, but I'd suggest you go below this line. So I'm going to just draw a straight vertical line down. And then this is the interesting bit. I'm going to line the top of that door up to the vanishing point over here. Notice I'm just lining up. I'm not drawing it into that vanishing point, but I'm lining up. Once I've lined it up, I'm just going to indicate where the top of that door should be. Then I'm going to go past this line to Mummy Bear's house and indicate where her door should be. Then on Tiny Tim Bear's house, a little line where his door should be. Little Bear no longer lives there, so we don't have to worry about him. Okay, so we've got one side of the door which we've already drawn in. But now all we need to do is put a ruler on that line, make sure it's vertically straight, parallel with the edge of the page, and then move it across the page until we're happy with the size of the door. Remember to leave room because I want to put a window in here, so don't do the door too big. And then a straight vertical line down. And that's your first door done. And the second one, the same thing. Quite close to the separate, so there's the gap between Daddy Bear and Mummy Bear's house. And we're going to draw a line down. Okay. Then move it across the size we want it to be. Remember, you need to leave room to put a window in. And then another vertical line down. So for each door, we've done 2 lines down to show that there's a door. Please don't use the dividing line between Daddy Bear, Mummy's house or any others as one of the guiding lines. We'll do the same now for Tiny Tim's. We're going to do a line down, move across, another line down for the other side of the door. Okay, these houses need windows. So we're going to go up here, and again, parallel with the edge of the page, just move in a little bit, draw the size of the window you want, line it up to the vanishing point, and then very faintly draw a line in. But you don't need to go all the way to the vanishing point, you just need to indicate it where it's going to be on Daddy Bear's house, where you think the windows are going to be on Mummy Bear's house, and where they're going to be on Tiny Tim Bear's house. Do remember though, do it faintly, because we're going to rub out an awful lot of these lines. And like we've done for the bottom, we're going to move to the top, and we're going to draw a line in there. Again, very faintly at the top across Daddy Bear's, faintly across Mummy Bear's, and of course faintly across Tiny Tim Bear's house. So now these are the guidelines for how high the windows are. So this first line here, that's the first side of a window, so we can just move across and do our first window. that's the first window done. But for each window following on, we must make sure we draw 2 lines down. So I'm going to give a space for the windows, make sure it's parallel with that one, vertical down the page. And one side of the window, move across, 2 side. And that's 2 windows on the first house. Now you can rub out these faint line guidelines that we've drawn in. And we've got the first 2 windows. And of course on Mummy Bear's house it's the same thing. For each window, 1 line down for one side of the window. If we do another one, that's the first window on Mummy Bear's house done. I want another window, so we move across a little bit. One side of the window, second side, that's the second window done. And again, just redrawing these guidelines. Remember, they are at an angle, so don't draw them straight. They are going towards the vanishing point. And then you can rub out those guidelines. And just Tiny Tim Bear's house to go. So for each window, 1 line down, second line, that's the first window. Give a little gap, 1 line down, 2 line down, that's the second window. And again, rub out the lines you don't need. We can even get rid of those lines here now because we don't need those anymore. Okay, so it's pretty good. Let's draw a window downstairs now before we start looking at adding some realism. Straight vertical line down. Line it up to the vanish point, and then just draw where you think the window should be on each house. These are the guides for where the window's height should be. Okay, so we've done it across the bottom, moving, keep the rule on the vanish point, move it up to the top of that line. Okay, where it should be there on Daddy Bear's, and where it should be on Mummy Bear's, and Tiny Tim Bear's house. Okay, so finish this window off, I've got one side already drawn in, move across for however large I want the window to be, line down, and there's the first window drawn. On Mummy Bear's house, of course, we have to do 2 lines down. One side of the window, then the other side of the window. And the same on Tiny Tim's. 1 side down, 2 side down. Okay, and of course, you can get rid of any lines you don't need. If you draw them light enough, you might not even need to rub them out. Just redrawing where you want the strong lines to be. Okay, so let's make these windows a little bit more realistic. So to do that, we just draw a line inside the window. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it so it's not quite going to the top of that line. Keep it vertical. I'm going to draw a line down like that. And I'm going to put an equal gap at the bottom and the top. I'm going to join it up to the vanishing point. And then I'm just going to draw the lines in where they should be on each of the windows. So the first window, the second window. On that, I'm leaving a gap on either side to draw lines down. Okay. And the same on the bottom. Okay, so once we've got those lines on the bottom, we can just repeat the whole process of doing vertical lines up. So here we go, it's the first window. Oh, that was a bit off. First window. My mistake there, should have pressed lighter. Okay, and on the second window here, so moving it across, straight vertical line up. Same there, straight vertical line up. Second, the window now on Mummy Bear's house, straight vertical line up, and straight vertical line up. And the same there on the second window, straight vertical, and so on. Let's go on to Tiny Tim Bear's house. Sometimes your Tiny Tim's windows might be so small you can't do that detail. But there you go. And now they're going to do the same on the bottom window. So it's just a vertical line down, leaving an equal gap at the top and the bottom. Then join it to the vanishing point and just draw the line where you think it should go on each of these windows. The lighter you do it, the better. Okay, now you've got your guides. Just finish off that window, vertical line up. Move over to this one, vertical line down, vertical line there, and the same on Tiny Tim Bear's house. You've got your windows drawn. Now if I want to make these a little bit more realistic, to give them more of a window frame, on the top windows I'm going to give windows with a smaller opening at the top. So again, on the vanishing point, choose the point I want it to be, draw a line down there in between each window. Notice again, it's going to the vanishing point. Now move down, keep it on the vanishing point, make it equal space in there, about the same thickness as the window frame. Just down all the houses. And you can see then we've got these nice window frames for each houses. If you want to put a little divider there, you can. So 2 little lines down, equal space, and it's a nice effect. For the bottom windows, let's give it a traditional cross window. So again, you want to pick about the halfway mark from line there. That gives you a guide to work to. So go to your vanishing point, draw there, equally spaced on the windows, and then move it down, keep it on the vanishing point, line there, and that one. And all we need to do is then put the cross in. Okay. Okay, so it's quite a realistic looking houses so far. Let's quickly look to the other side. So, again, repeat the process. There's the corner. I'm going to move across a little bit. Draw the line up. Again, just down from the corner. And for the bottom of the house, a little bit wider out. Not too much. Down. And then we're going to add pavement and the curb. Okay, then we've got Daddy Bear's house, which is the bigger one. Okay, so look, I measured about in that one, so if I give it about the same, give a little bit of balance to it. It's not perfect. Parallel line though, parallel vertical line out from the edge of the page, because the edge of the page is always 90 degrees, a straight line up. And I'm just going to try and make it as equal as I can be. It probably won't be quite perfect, but a little bit closer. So I've got 4.5 right there, and vertical line down, hoping to keep as parallel as possible. 2.5. And another vertical line down, hopefully as parallel as I can be, and there we go, just over 1.5 there. These lines don't have to be exact, but I'm just trying to get them as equal as I can. So once we've got those, we're going to choose the angle, choose the sphere angle for the pitch of the roof, keep that angle the same. Okay, and now let's get rid of Little Bear's cousin. So 1, 2, 3, and again it's a horizontal line parallel with the bottom of your page up to 1, 2, 3 to Little Bear's, where Little Bear's house meets the pavement. Straight across like that. Follow the line up. When it gets to the top roof line, you're going to do a diagonal angle back towards the other house, and that gives the illusion of a break in the buildings. I'm now going to drop down, put that pavement in. So straight across from Mummy Bear's house to the pavement, and then drop it down a millimetre or so, then another line across to show the curb. A straight line down there to indicate. Go a little bit up from Mummy Bear's house, parallel with that line, a line from Mummy Bear's house out to the pavement, and then a straight line down for the curb. And with the magic of a little rubber then, we can show that that's a slightly smaller lane going up there, maybe just enough room for a motorcycle or a little old car to go through. And we can get rid of these lines here because we don't need them anymore. In fact, we can get rid of those lines as well. Okay, so we're going to go quickly through this other side. Again, close to the edge of the page here, we want a nice parallel vertical line going down there. Join it to the vanishing point and just draw where you think the height of the door is going to be on each house. Once you've got that, you draw a straight line down. For each house needs 2 straight lines down. So there's the first door, go to Mummy Bear's house, line down, going a little bit off there. Okay, and remember we need enough room for a window, and every time we go up a house, the door needs to get slightly smaller because it's further away, so it looks smaller. And we need to show that. The same on Tiny Timber's house there. Okay, there's our doors. Let's get the windows in. Vertical line down near the edge of the paper. Join to the vanishing point. A faint line in then where you think the window should be on each of the 3 houses. Line up the top of that vertical line to the vanishing point. Guide then for the windows on the houses. Once you've got that, again, it's just move your ruler vertically across. When you think that's the right size for a window, draw a line down. That's your first window done. Leave a gap, start the second window. 1 line down, move across, 2. And there we go. We've got our 2 windows on the first house. Just rubbing that out there. Moving on to Mummy Bear's house now. Go across, we're going to have 1 window down, so it's 1 side, move across, 2, that's your first window. Give a space, 1 line down, and a second line, and that's your second window down. So again, remove the bits you don't need. And I move across to Tiny Timber's house. So for each window, 1, move across, 2. Move across for the gap, 1 window, 2 window. So each window relies on having 2 lines down. Okay, let's very quickly put some detail on these. Oh, we need to do the bottom window as well. So here we go. Again, line down, join it to the vanishing point. Very faintly to the vanishing point. Just do a guide where you think the windows are going to be. Now all you need to do then is, we've got the first line drawn down, so let's draw the second one down. Make sure it's vertical, parallel with all these lines. The same there. So that's our first window done. Again, you can rub out bits you don't need. Go to the second house, Mummy Bear's house. First side of the window down. Second. Rub out the bits we don't need. And let's give Tiny Tim a window at last year. 1 line, 2 line. Just 2 simple lines down and you've got the window done. It's just a matter of not being confused where the windows start and end. And for not having that central line as well part of the window. Okay, let's give us inside these windows. So moving across here, a space, build up, equal space at the top and the bottom. Join the top of that to the vanishing point. And then put in the guidelines at the top of each of the windows. And the same at the bottom. So at the bottom of that vertical line there, join to the vanishing point. Just put your guidelines in there, 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 and there. And also on Tiny Timber's house. At that point then, we're looking good for drawing the vertical lines up here for the first window to be complete. Up here for the second. So each window requires 2 vertical lines up. Try and make sure they keep them parallel, otherwise your windows will lose the illusion of being sort of 3-dimensional perspective windows. Okay, just 1 more line there. Okay, brilliant. And the same on the bottom window. Again, just make sure equal spacing, so you've got an equal gap at the top and the bottom. join to the vanishing point. Join to the vanishing point. And then draw the vertical lines up to finish each window off. So 2 lines per window to get that window frame in. Okay, let's just give us the posh looking windows at the top now. So remember to join to the vanishing point. Draw a line across each window. Move down an equal amount, keeping the ruler on the vanishing point. Okay, and let's do a cross window on the bottom here. So I'm going to indicate where I think halfway is. So 1 line there, equal space to the vanishing point. Line across each of the windows. Keep it on the vanishing point, line down, and another line. Okay, and then draw your vertical lines in there. Okay. Okay. And now we've got our row of houses, identical on both sides. Not quite even on the gap between the houses, but it's good enough. Now what I want you to look at now is which is the highest of these 2 houses. On mine is this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go just up from this one with a line parallel with the bottom of the page. So on a horizontal line parallel with the bottom of the page, and just go slightly up from the end of Tiny Tim Bear's house there. And then draw a line from Tiny Tim Bear's house on the left hand side across to the pavement. And then from the pavement to Tiny Tim Bear's house. And this indicates the end of the pavement. So I could walk around the corner there, walk up and around the corner there. I then want to move my ruler up just a little bit to give the indication of a road between there and there. So we're going to do a road going across. And this again is another horizontal line going across my page. So parallel with the middle line, parallel with the bottom of the page. If we rub